Okay, this video is a quick guide on the steps that you should go through to plan for an AP synthesis essay. The first thing you need to know about the AP synthesis essay and how to plan is that you will have a designated 15-minute time period to read through the articles and the prompt associated with the synthesis essay. If you use that 15 minutes well, you will have an excellent plan for that essay and you'll be able to focus on not what you're saying, but you can focus on what the test is about, which is how you communicate it. And that's really important. It's really important to have a good plan. So when you go into that 15-minute planning time before the synthesis essay, you need to remember you have to have focus, effort, and energy. These are some of the most important things. If you are focused, you put in the effort, and you put in the energy to have a really detailed plan, to have a complete plan of what you're going to say, then you'll be able to focus on the important part of the test, which is how you communicate it. So when you get ready to plan for this essay, this is what a synthesis AP prompt looks like. It's something like this. There's several pages to it because you have your prompt page here, and then you have an accompanying 6 to 7 sources to use, which you see here. So the first thing you should do is analyze the prompt. Look closely at the prompt, read everything on the page, make sure you look carefully and find what the actual question or prompt is that they're asking you to do. They give you a lot of background information that's really good for helping you get ideas, but usually they don't give you the prompt until down lower in the actual page. In this case, the prompt, what they're actually asking you to do, appears in the middle here. It's asking you to synthesize information from at least 3 of the sources and incorporate it into a coherent, well-developed essay. And then here's the key, that identifies the key issues associated with the locavore movement and examines their implications for the community. So you have to identify issues and examine how that would affect the community. That's where you would find the prompt. So that's what you would need to write about. So you need to carefully analyze the prompt and make sure you know and understand what it's asking you to do. Because if you don't understand what it's asking you to do, or you can't figure that out, or you don't take the time to figure it out the right way, it's very difficult to do well on this essay. Once you figure out what the prompt is asking, you need to take a position. Essentially, choose a side. Take a stand. Figure out what it is, where you stand on the issue. For instance, with this one about the locavore movement, you would want to take a stand. You would need to decide what you think the key issues are. Not everybody agrees on what the key issues would be. You decide what you think the key issues are, and you decide how you think that affects the movement. It's going to be different for every person that writes the essay. You just want to make sure that you clearly know what you're saying. It doesn't really matter what you choose to say, as long as it's on topic, because it's really, they want to see how you communicate what you're saying. So keep that in mind. Next, you want to then go ahead and start reading the sources and picking out your quotes. Once you know what position you're taking, then attack the sources. The reason that's a good idea is because then you know what you're looking for, and you only have to read each source once. And while you're reading, you can be looking for what you're going to use. You don't have time to read the sources over and over and take your time, so you have to be very efficient. Knowing what it is you're going to argue allows you to read each source through once, and while you're reading it, be underlining or highlighting quotes that you could potentially use, so that by the time you read all the sources, you would know the pool of quotes that you have to choose from, and you can immediately then decide which quotes you're going to use as evidence for your argument. After you read through and have picked your quotes out, go ahead and write your thesis statement. Now you have a better idea of what your argument will look like and what kind of evidence you're going to have. You need to write a clear thesis statement. Remember, review our thesis statement videos if you don't remember how to do that. You probably, the best bet would be to go to your prompt page and to do all the planning on that page. That's what I recommend doing. Just right there on the page where you can still see the prompt. Write out your thesis statement, maybe even write out the quotes you're going to use, write out some of the points you're going to make, and that kind of thing. Next, Plan the order and additional evidence. Decide which sources you're going to use first, which you're going to use later, and that kind of thing. Also, you might think about additional evidence. Do you have some personal experience, some observations that you could add in here that might add to your argument and make it better? You can also do that on that front page. Once you've done all that and you have that plan written out on that front page, then you can start writing. At that point, get into it, start writing your essay. Take that time to plan because it's going to make all the difference and it's going to guarantee that you have a good AP synthesis essay.